Which one?
Shalom.
Shalom, family. We're trying something new here. We're trying to see if we can stream this broadcast on both of our channels at the same time. But if not, we'll just remain here on Black Education TV.
Appears to be working.
Okay. One moment here before we get started. Thanks everyone for joining us. One moment here. I'm curious too. Since this is not a regular Shabbat type class, you may hear some noise in the background from the children. We're not gonna do all the censorship today with the children because this is usually one of their days where they're allowed to, do whatever.
It's neat. We may start broadcasting on both channels.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now that we've seen that it is flowing from both channels live, that's neat. That's neat. Hello, everybody.
Shalom. Shalom.
Give us a moment here. We're just going to ramble for a bit to allow others to join us real quick. This is just a follow-up too from last week's business broadcast.
Exactly.
In which we've had a lot of good feedback from many people, and there's a lot of excitement. Business always excites us because we feel like it's something that we need to do anyway. We need to be able to take care of ourselves. And so we're going to be talking about a number of different things here today. We have a list of things that we're going to cover. We're not going to keep you as long as we did last week. Last week was just to introduce some of the ideas and what we had in mind with what we're trying to accomplish here with our family. And when I say our family, I'm not talking about just the immediate family here. I'm talking about the family of Israel. And as you all see during a lot of our broadcasts, I'm constantly putting things on my lips. And if anyone has a product, I make chapstick and stuff too, but I haven't had the time to make any lately. So if anyone has a good formula to where I ain't got to do this all the time in the wintertime, it's one of those things that's constant because you have this chilliness in the air. And so therefore, I'm always doing that. And I hope it doesn't annoy anyone. It annoys me, but anyway, let's keep it rolling. Yeah, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Winter does definitely hurt your lips. Yes, it does. Okay. Again, I'm going to ramble for a couple minutes, and watch me. He can ramble too.
Yeah.
Give us a little bit of rambling, just for a couple of minutes to allow a few other people to gather with us.
Don't get me started. You sure you want me to? Yeah, business is it's very important that we as a people try to start more businesses and go into business with each other. Networking, all of that stuff it's very important.
Mm-hmm.
I think back now to a lot of the different things that have happened over the years and how so many times I've heard people get laid off from jobs and other things. And it's like when that happens, it can be scary.
It can be devastating.
I know a brother we were talking to who he was laid off right before he got his full time in, and they were going to make him full time, and they shall say a permanent employee, but they ended up letting him go before he got his full time in, and it was kind of it's bad when you have to go through that kind of stuff, and I went through it too. And sometimes when you work in jobs, you deal with people on these jobs that have attitudes and ways about them, and racism. They're gonna find that on the job. That's on every job,
Yes.
And so it gets to be kind of really crazy. It can be hard on you. You got a wife and kids. You got to take care of them kids, and you got people playing around with your income.
Yes.
That's crazy.
And that's a position we've allowed ourselves to be put in.
That's
and the reason why I say allow is because most of us have heard of Black Wall Street. And I think even though, things were just destroyed for obvious reasons, racism in this country, I think we shouldn't be afraid to go at something like that again. But of course,
right.
Doing things in another way or a different way we don't have to all be like in one neighborhood with it just screaming on the mountaintops, hey, here's a Black community, a Black business, because people are going to look for those kind of things, right? So there's a such thing as strategic location. You know, when we were looking at the war room, they were mapping out how they do things when they set up the game plan for war, you see? And so if we are smart, we can do the same thing.
That's right.
And last week we talked about branding your business as a so-called Black business. They were mapping out how they do things. But sometimes that's a good idea if your market is only Black. So it really don't matter if you focus on, you know, it being a Black business. But if you're trying to reach mainstream customers, like you got a Gidget or a Gadget or a Witchamajigam or whatever, you don't want to say Black-owned Witchamajigam or Laquita's iPoddies or whatever. You don't want to do that because, and the reason I'm saying this is when I remember when we started eBay a long time ago, I had my name, and I have a very ethnic name. I thank the Most High that I'm no longer called by that name. I am Deborah now, but I have a very ethnic sounding Black name. Okay, it's actually a Japanese name, but
you gonna tell them?
I don't like the name, so I'm not telling them. Some of them know. But it's a very ethnic sounding name. And we even had, when we had a white business partner in Michigan, he did tell us this. He said, you have a very ethnic sounding name and that will close a lot of doors for you. He actually told us that.
Yeah, when we were in real estate,
yes.
We used to buy homes in my name because whenever we tried to buy them in my wife's name, we would always get all this
all these roadblocks.
Yeah, roadblocks.
You know?
It's because they knew she was Black, you know, by the name.
Yeah.
You're trying to push a loan through a loan officer, looking at it, you see that name on there, you're like,
girly, I don't think so. Or actually, they didn't turn the loans down. What they simply did was they made us jump through more hoops.
And sometimes the interest rates could be a lot higher because we were Black. And
yeah,
but
you know
crazy.
What's funny, when we put loans through in his name, they just will breeze right on through because he has a typical white man's name. You know,
not anymore.
Well, not anymore. But yeah, he did, and so they went right on through. But when it was time for me to put something through in my name, that's when all of the paperwork just built up. It was a mountain high. Okay, we need you to prove this. We need you to prove that. Is that really your finger on your hand, or does it belong to someone else? Or we had to prove everything. But when we started realizing what we were up against and what we had to deal with, we said, okay, we got to roll with the punches and go with the flow. We got to change our game. We have to do things different. And so now, depending on what we're doing in business, we will state our names or what have you, and other times we will not. Some of the things we do it generic. When we say generic, mainstream. Hopefully y'all know what that means. Generic, mainstream, it doesn't mean that you're going to point out the fact that you're Black. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and get into this. We have people gathering on both channels, and so I'll look at one chat, and I guess I'll have my husband look at another.
Yeah, I got the other one up over here.
Okay.
Is that it? Yeah, I got this one up over here.
So both chats are going. This is different. We didn't realize that we can broadcast from both channels, so praise y'all for that.
Yeah, so some of you are over on Watchman Reports viewing it, and the others are at Black Education TV YouTube viewing it. So
this is wonderful. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and get into what we're trying to cover here. One of the first things I wanted to say is we have a network which is called the 12 Tribes Academy, and I've also pointed the domain 12 Tribes Network over there. And the reason is we're going to just combine it at that site, and we have a chat that is set up on the site. We contacted our host company. This is a chat that will be for members only. And what that does, it allows our members to only hear what's going on in a particular broadcast. We can even have video there.
That's right.
And the neat thing about it,
go ahead.
Yes,
Go ahead.
The neat thing about it is anyone else who has a mic connected to their computer or their device or a camera, you can join in the broadcast with us. So we can see you, you can see us. we kind of tired of being the only ones who are looked at. We want to see y'all too, you know.
Yeah.
So if you got a camera, plug it up so we can look at you too.
Yeah.
If you have a mic, plug it up so we can hear you too.
Some cameras have mics built in
Yeah.
too, so you might not need a mic. You might just, if you get a good what is this what's these called? Internet cameras?
Webcam.
Webcams. There
Yes.
you go. If you get a good webcam, it already has a mic built in.
Yes. And so, yeah, you'll be able to voice your questions out loud, okay? And we can answer like on the spot. So the reason we did that too on the 12 Tribes Academy is because many of you expressed a desire to help us with like worksheets and things. And we have some great ideas we want to lay out as well for that. And so having the network in the Academy conjoined, in which when I did one of my initial release videos, I did talk about the families working together. And we did say business was going to be a part of this. So combining the network makes more sense to me than if initially I had two separate websites for 12 Tribes Academy and 12 Tribes Network. And I just said, you know what, I can't, that's just too much. I don't need that. We can put it all in one area, okay? For the website is 12tribesnetwork.com or 12tribesacademy.com. They both go to the same website. You can just use either name to access the same website, 12 Tribes Network or 12tribesacademy.com. And you have to be a member in order to participate in the chat. You have to be a member in order to join any of the groups. What we're doing is we're setting up groups on the network that will be specialized for what you're interested in doing. We have a lot of people who are sewers. We had some people even in the UK say that they would like to participate in any sewing venture that we have. And so the neat thing about the internet, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, even our family in the UK or in Africa or what have you. Of course, there are different things dealing with shipping, but even with the shipping is getting more and more reasonable, especially if we're doing things in bulk, okay? So so the groups are set up to where if you want to participate in sewing, we're gonna ask you to join that particular group. If you're gonna be interested in anything dealing with marketing, we'll have a group established specifically for that. Some of you may be in more than one group, but the whole idea is to organize things on the site so that we know who's going to be participating in what. If there's someone, like we have a family that took a very strong interest in having our own homeschool legal defense team. And it's a very bright young lady and her mom, and they've already done a lot of research into this. And anyone who is wanting to join with them in these efforts would join that particular group, okay? Because we think it's very important that we start to look at things that we as a people need and try to meet those needs among ourselves. And it's going to take a very determined mind and seriousness in order to accomplish the things that we need to accomplish. Like we stated before, it is very easy to start a business. That's the easiest thing you can do, right? But maintaining and running a business, that's where the work comes in. Because anyone can go down and file a DBA or file incorporation papers, and you can, once you get the papers, you can fold it up, put it in the drawer. You got a business, you filed a business, but if it sits there and collect dust, that's all you have is a business.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah, there's a lot of work in getting a business, especially once you start a business. Actually to get that business off the ground and get it going and actually bringing in income is the next phase, and that's a little harder, but you have to do good research and know what you're getting into, and just do all the research that you can and everything that you can to get it going too. You know, it's kind of like building a house. You know what I mean? You get your foundation, and you can't stop there. You can't just build the foundation and walk away and think the rest of the house gonna just get built on its own. It's not gonna happen.
That's right.
Okay, so starting a business is the same way. Once you get your foundation, you get things set up, then you start getting your walls, and once you get your roof on and everything, now you're ready. You're ready to really get going. You see, and it's kind of like that. So
Now, for the person who asked the question, what does the other site cost? Well, it wasn't an issue of cost. I did have the site set up. It was more of an issue of trying to localize things. It wasn't expensive to set up the site at all. It was just trying to localize things so that, because we do have other sites that we need to develop that are going to help us in our endeavors, right? And so I didn't want to have all of these sites all over the place. Right. The network site is going to be where we all meet to have discussions, and YouTube is kind of open. But with this, remember last week we talked about maybe having to charge $1 to access a particular broadcast so that people who weren't really supposed to hear what we're talking about can't see it. Well, when we contacted our site administrator, they installed something on our server that allows our chat to operate and function to where we can do the exact same thing we're doing here, but privately. Yeah. Because we're talking about business, we're going to be sharing ideas, and so we don't want to put our ideas out on the airwaves, right? Right. And so that's what we're going to be doing over there. We're going to set that up so only members and only those who are trying to be a part of this joint effort will be able to participate in what we're talking about. A lot of very nice ideas have been shared. A lot of you are, you do so many different things. We have some professionals who want to offer professional help, and we thank the Most High for that. That is what we are looking for. We're saying, let's put all of our thoughts in one area. Let's put all of our thoughts among our community. And there's nothing wrong with doing this. And any Gentile that is looking at this, it has to be understood that we have to look out for ourselves because everyone else is looking out for their own. This is not a ministry thing. This is a family thing. That's right. And from time to time, we do get Gentiles that get kind of sensitive who follow our ministry, and they get sensitive and they'll email us messages and questions and things about why this and why that. And unfortunately, we're living in an age where we always have to explain things, not just to Gentiles, but to even our own people. We're always finding ourselves explaining why this, why that, But some things I think should be obvious, right? This has nothing to do with ministry. This is a family thing. This is why we called it the 12 Tribes Network and the 12 Tribes Academy, because we're trying to look out for ourselves as it relates to the things that mainstream society is not looking out for us in. Mainstream society is not really concerned with educating our children properly. So we're just saying, okay, well, the job has to be left up to us. Right. Mainstream society is not interested in us building communities to get our children out of poverty or get them out of a life of crime and violence. As a matter of fact, mainstream society is trying to get our people to go in the opposite direction. So we're trying to address those things. And one of those things is being able to generate capital, because we can't always get loans, family. We can't always get loans. And so what we're trying to do here is make it easy. If someone has an idea that is an awesome idea, but they simply don't have $500 to make it happen, what we do then is we say, okay, we're going to look at the idea. I don't want anyone to think, hold on one second. Like I said, this is not a regular broadcast, so we have children in the background. Someone has a question, so she's holding up a note, and I can't read from 20 feet away. So I'm going to look at her little note here real quick. Okay, Rebecca wants to know, are you all having some quiche and grits? No, thank you, sweetheart. You all enjoy yourself. They made some awesome brunch in there, and it does smell good, but we're gonna pass on it. Thank you very much, sweetheart. It does smell good. Okay, what was I saying?
I was trying to respond to this person on here about what were the channel names again?
Oh, 12 Tribes Network and 12 Tribes Academy.
I typed it in on this one here.
Okay, so anyone who is wanting to join and be a part of our efforts, you will have to be a member of the site in order to participate in our private chats, okay? And we are asking anyone who joins to please put up a picture. I know you can just grab a picture from anywhere, but we just want to know who we're dealing with. we're going to be talking about some things that I feel that our people need. But anyway, back to what we were discussing. We were talking about what we need in our communities. And we have to look around within our communities and say, okay, if there is a need for, now one of the things that I'm going to say, learning materials that reflect us are very needed. And that was one of the goals that we tried to accomplish years ago with the Black Academy, which is now called 12 Tribes Academy. We tried to address that need, but when it's just me and my family doing it, you can only get so far. It definitely helps if we have other people who are creating worksheets as well. Now, one thing that I can speak on openly, okay, is if we had our own publishing company for certain educational materials, okay? I'm not speaking of just publishing things in general, but educational materials. I think this is something that we can work on together, because I hear that there are more than 200,000 or 300,000 so-called Black homeschoolers in America. Now, those were the statistics from years ago. Based on the response we've been seeing, that number is growing rapidly. So we want to be the ones to produce those materials for them. And I know that we can do it, family. With the correct publishing software and all of this, and putting our heads together, we need to do this. Now, let me tell you something. I did mention before that you have some Gentiles that have put together some items for so-called Black curriculum or Black history. And trust me, they don't do it any justice at all. When you have workbook saying was George Washington Carver a smart man, a lazy man, a hard worker, and all this different stuff.
Who cares?
What kind of Black history material is that? Asking, was he smart, lazy, or a hard worker? They're using that, and I'm just going to show you what marketing is. If you can use the name of a Black history figure and say, see, they got materials on George Washington Carver. We gotta kind of look past all of that stuff. Yes, they do. But what is the material? What is in the material?
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, years ago, in our homeschool group, there was a so-called Black person who was pushing these materials that this so-called white woman created. I'm not trying to be racist here. I'm trying to make a point, family. She was trying to support this. And when I was looking through the materials, I'm like, why are our people promoting this? This is not anything that is educating our children, asking a simple question. Why is he smart, dumb, or whatever? You know what I'm saying?
All jokes aside, though, we do need to support our own businesses.
Yes, we do.
We need to support our own business. That's why Black Wall Street got so huge like it did. Mm-hmm. And that's why they got so angry, because they knew that we were finally, we had separated ourselves from them, and we were growing as businesses like you wouldn't believe, in hospitals, some everything. So we do need to support our own. So, instead of supporting some of these other institutions, because let's just be honest, right? When you look at the Chinese and they go out there and they buy, what was funny is I used to always see Chinese people driving Toyotas.
They know how to keep it in the family.
They always driving Toyotas. Each time I looked around, they driving. I mean, that's how they are. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and unfortunately, we're not going to reach all of our people with this. For some of our people, this is foolishness. I even had in my homeschool group when we were, discussing supporting Black business one time. This sister actually came and blatantly said, I don't support people based on whether or not they're a Black business or a white business. I support people based on what I need. And in some regards, I can understand that. But if you have a so-called Black business that's doing the same thing that Mr. Charlie is doing, a good friend of ours said that sometimes Black people say, well, Mr. Charlie's ice is colder. And so therefore, I'm going to support Mr. Charlie, right? Now, we're not talking about obvious things where a Black business is not handling their business. I'm talking about where there is a choice to be made, where the customer service is good, but many of us choose not to support the Black business.
Yeah, just won't support them for nothing.
We just don't want to do it. And so what we're saying is, if you see a Black business that is trying to make it, and they are offering good customer service, like there was this one brother, he put up a video. He's a comedian. His name is Marvin something. But anyway, he said Black people need to stop asking for the hookup. when it comes to Black businesses.
Yeah.
And he was like, how are you supporting me when you want free this and free that, discount this and discount that? You know,
Exactly.
he said, I can't run my business like that. You ain't supporting me if you asking me to give you everything. You see, of course, he has some very colorful language in his comedic video. But I get where he's coming from. How can our businesses grow? How can we grow if we think just because you're Black, you're supposed to give it to me free? You see, how can our businesses grow if we're not going to support one another?
That's right.
Okay. So I'm going to start going through our list now. We have, I think we have enough people gathered in both
They gotta
chats.
keep the door closed there, okay?
And I'm going to ask Sophia to tend to the little one, see if she needs something to drink. Okay, thank you. But we're going to start going through our little list here, just so that we can get you all out at a good time, because Sunday is a busy day around here, and we don't want to keep the kids held up too long, and they're after they're done eating their food, they're going to want to move about and do some things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we did tell everyone to join the 12tribesnetwork.com, 12tribesacademy.com.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first thing. And we're asking anyone who wants to participate in a particular thing. And if you don't see a group there,
Can they start one?
I'm not sure.
I'm here now.
Bear with
12
me
Tribes
one
Academy.
moment. Okay, yeah, there is a group link. And if you are a member, I believe you can start a group. If there is a group that is already set up for a particular thing, let me see, you're not logged in. Let
No,
me see.
they log in real quick.
Okay, if you're not logged in, you can't even see the groups that are set up. Some things are set to private on the site. Now, I like it that way. This way, our ideas that we share can only be seen by members. The only thing you see there were outlines that we had for the educational part of the site. We had some outlines for people to go by if they don't know what to teach their children during the course of a day. There were specific things that we say you can teach your older kids each day, and then you give them some electives afterwards. So those are the only groups you'll be able to see
Okay.
unless you join.
No.
And you have to be a member of the group in
Are
order
these groups?
No. Okay, so I am going to have to make it to where you have to, okay, right now they're set to private. Okay, so you actually have to join the group, it seems, in order to see anything.
Now,
So
where
I'm
are
going
the
to have
groups
to,
at on here? Because I'm looking at
right here,
That's where I am.
right, you can't see them. You have to join the
Oh.
groups. So give us a moment. We'll do things to where members of the site can see the group, because the way it's set up right now, if you're not a member of the group, you can't see it. So
Oh,
we're
so
trying to
it's-
set as many privacy mechanisms in place as possible. Again, because we're going to be sharing some very sensitive information, and we just don't want that visible to everyone. Okay. I'm going to say this first and foremost. With anything that you do, anything. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go in there right now. Some of you are requesting to join. I'm going to go in right now and release the restrictions so that we don't have to activate your site, that you
show
can get
me where to go?
automatic activation. You can go back here. And the reason is we do that to keep spammers off of the site and to keep busybodies off of the site, okay? First, so temporarily during the broadcast, we're going to release that to where you can just join.
Settings.
You can just join automatically. Go into settings,
Okay.
go into advanced settings, and go into profiles.
Privacy groups.
Moderation, go to moderation. I believe it's moderation. Okay, auto activate profiles.
Here.
After joining, okay. Here,
Keep
go
that
to
one.
profiles. No, keep that one.
Keep them.
Go to profiles. Bear with us one moment, family. We're trying to make it to where you can just join without being activated. Okay, enable, allow profile comments. It should be one of these. I can hardly see on your screen, so I'm going to go
Okay.
ahead and do
You
it
can go
real
outside.
quick here.
Okay.
I'll let you go into the next thing in that list there.
Okay. With everything you do, especially in business, you got to be organized.
Mhm.
Okay. Being organized is very important, you know. And so I recommend that you keep two type of filing systems. You need to keep one on your computer, and you need to have a file cabinet of some sort too, because you want to keep things organized, things that you're doing, things that you spend money for your business. You know, you want to keep records of all of those things, items that you purchase for your business, and being organized. I can tell you some. When we were doing eBay years ago, and we were doing liquidation, selling bulk items. Boy, I tell you, that paperwork can get to be so crazy. You have so much paperwork. You know, you may get a client to say, "Hey, I didn't get this." You got to find a tracking number. Well, you better have that stuff organized, or you won't be able to give them a tracking number. And you got to keep track of things that you ship out, you don't ship out, and it can be very hectic. You know, so I recommend that you get a file cabinet, file things away. Even before if we wasn't doing a business, we would have file cabinet. Mm-hmm. Because you should file your bills and everything else that you're doing. Mm-hmm. You need to keep records of those things and keep good records. The reason for it is taxes.
Yes.
You're going to need to file taxes. You know, you're going to need to present some paperwork or whatever. So you got to have all that paperwork. Can't be lost in the sauce. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you kind of got to be organized.
Yes, indeed. It's kind of funny. He said "lost in the sauce." That was an idea my mom had shared with us.
Oh, that's right. Lost in the sauce.
Because you know we cook different things, right?
Yeah.
And she had actually said that we should. That was one of her business ideas. Having different sauces and gravies.
Mama probably like, she done gave him money. No. Don't none of y'all start that now.
Well, see, yeah. Thank you, sweetheart. But we're always talking about different things. But you know, mom, she's not gonna do that anyway, though. But these are some of the things that we have to keep in mind when we're starting our business, being organized, right? Being organized is very key. And we're even trying to get our children involved in that as well.
Right.
Filing and all of that. Keeping everything filed so that you can get to it, even on the computer, is very important that we do that.
Yeah.
But that's one of those ideas, though, that we might want to pursue as a group because, you know, like I said, Mama's not really wanting to pursue that any longer. But
okay.
Anyone who is into cooking and you know, things of that nature. These are things that we can do. Exactly. So yeah, I probably should have just been quiet about that.
That's okay.
But there are so many different. There are so many different companies and brands that do certain things anyway. So we're gonna use our network to share things.
In the chat. Yeah, in the chat we'll be able to share all of these things openly in the chat. You know, so
okay.
Or from the site, should I say?
Yes. Okay. So whenever we have an idea, this is what we're proposing, and see, you all being able to participate in the conversation, and instead of me and my husband just running our mouths, that's going to be very important for us. Because if you have an idea that you want to bring to the table, this is the format that I want us to present it in. I'm thinking that if someone has an idea, they're going to present it to the group, and we are going to take a realistic look at the idea. If someone comes and say they think we should try to manufacture these, right? Mm-hmm. We all have to look at that thought realistically and say, okay, first of all, in order to manufacture these, it's going to take X amount of dollars. It's going to take prototypes made. It's going to take thousands of dollars to do this and that and what have you. You're going to have to get in touch with metal companies to make sure this is strong enough. This is a spring from a for clothesline clips, right? So we're all going to have to look at that idea realistically,
right?
And determine if this is something that we as a group want to invest in, right? But if someone, if they feel like, well, I just absolutely want to do this, but the group is not feeling the project, of course the group can't go along with it. But we're not going to discourage you from wanting to do it, but we just want everyone to take a realistic look at things. Because there are some things that people aren't going to agree with. Like we said, when we wanted to jump out into real estate, We had people coming up with reasons and excuses not to do it.
That's
And
right.
so do we say, well, because the group don't want to do it, then we're going to just forget about the idea? No, we just continued on.
Just continue.
So if you are just completely adamant that your idea, your product, your service is going to be great, then I say go for it.
Yeah.
But as it relates to a group effort on something, if someone has an idea and it's only going to take a small amount, but they don't have that amount, we need to structure a way in which to fund that idea. You know, they had micro loans in.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It was in another country.
No, it wasn't China. India. I think it was India.
It was certain third world countries. I think it was more than one location. They were doing micro loans, but we don't want to do this as a loan. We want to do it more as an investment, right? And we were thinking, and this is one of those things we're going to discuss in the group too. We were thinking instead of making it a long-term investment, if just say Sister Kimberly Sleets has an idea, and it's going to take $1,000 to fund the idea. And we all invest in that idea, and after a year, she's doing really well with it. Now, if everyone invested X amount of dollars into that, just to give her, to, I guess, relinquish. This is just one idea here because some of you may want to stay in the long term. I'm just trying to present an idea here so that she can continue and flow with her company. If she's reached a point to where she's realizing a great profit, and she can go ahead and do payouts to where a person who may have invested X amount of dollars, they can go ahead and reap the benefits, and they're no longer a part of the company, so to speak. I don't know if I'm explaining that right, but
they're not a part of the company. It's basically like just an investor.
Right, an investor, and they get their payoff.
Right.
And so that she's not having to deal with, okay, all of these investors, how do I deal with having to pay them off or what have you? These are the things that we want to discuss. How do we want to formulate each project?
Right,
see?
Exactly.
And I think it's important that we establish this up front with every project. How do we want to run things? You see? Yeah, I have that here. How do we establish, or how do we structure each venture? We want to iron all of that out so that there is no confusion, because sometimes there can be misunderstandings when you go into projects or ventures with people. There can be misunderstandings that can just render the whole thing a disaster.
Right.
And we don't want to get into that at all. We want to simplify this as much as possible. And in order to do that, we want to iron things out before any exchange of money takes place. If someone is going to, like we talked about, and this is something that other people are doing, so I can openly talk about this. If someone wants to take part in making the maxi pads or cloth maxi pads for the sisters, we want to see who's going to be the sewers, as far as stitching, and who's going to sew into it with money. We want to know all of that, and how we're going to structure this, where we're going to buy the materials from. We want to know all of that up front. And anyone who has sources for getting certain things, we want to make sure all of that is ironed out up front. Marketing, all of these things are going to be talked about up front. Any of you who have any questions too, by the way.
Close the door.
Well, isn't that something? We have someone who says maxi pads are considered a medical device by the FDA. Isn't that something? Well, you have a lot of people, they're trying to put that label on everything. You have a lot of people that are selling those already online. They are already selling those. And so that is a good point to make. We want to make sure that we are in compliance with local and state and government policies and rules and regulations with everything that we do, okay? Mm-hmm. Everything that we do. It's amazing how they've taken something so natural and want to call it medical. It kind of reminds me of childbirth,
Right, trying to make it so that they're the only ones that can produce them,
mm-hmm.
So no one could just produce these things,
Mm-hmm. Well,
I tell you.
Again, we'll check into all of that. Okay, now one thing that you want to do when you're trying to establish any business or get it off the ground is you want to establish goals.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to establish goals and timetables for each venture. Some things you can move quickly. You can get off the ground quickly, but some things take a lot more time. And I'm thinking that starting with just a few very small things, we said that before, we want to start with some very small things initially so that we're not overwhelmed with all of the tasks of doing business, because it does take time to nurture a business. I definitely want to pick some ideas that we know can prosper right away. And I think with all the group effort and all of the hands in this, we can definitely start a project and see it prosper faster, because everyone has some type of vested interest in this.
Right.
One brother contacted us. He has a marketing company. It looks like he's doing something different in marketing that we do. We deal mostly with branding and videos and logos, and it seems like he does social media marketing. And so this, to me, would be a brother that we would want to connect with.
Right, exactly.
And see how we can work together, how we can do merge ideas that we merge together and work with each individual company. Because some of you already have established companies, so therefore we would like to work with what you already have.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
She was asking a question here.
Mm-hmm.
You remember on Watchman Reports? I'm not sure what she was asking.
If you're a member of Watchman Reports, are you in the group? I want to join. Well, the groups aren't going to be set up on Watchman Reports.
No.
All of the groups dealing with business, this is to Sister Tanya, all of the groups dealing with the business are going to be at the 12tribesacademy.com, 12tribesnetwork.com. We're trying to keep the business and the ministry stuff as separate as possible. Of course, we may have links and things of that nature, but
On Watchman Reports, yeah, maybe a link on Watchman Reports that'll take you to 12 Tribes Academy. Keep in mind, it's one website, 12 Tribes Academy or 12 Tribes Network, but it's two domain names to get you there.
right.
But when you get there, I think it says, what does it say? 12 Tribes Academy?
I have both of them on there.
Okay.
It's both of them
Good.
on there, but the main logo at the top is 12 Tribes Academy.
Yeah.
For those of you who requested an invitation, you can go ahead and join. I took the request invitation thing off, so you can just join and go right in.
Okay.
Are
Are they able to see the groups now?
I'm not sure yet, but I have to go in and moderate
Okay.
the groups.
We'll try to work on some of that and get that done so you all can join the groups. We'll probably set up some groups too.
Yeah. Anyone who has a particular group that you may not see on the list of something that you may do, for instance, there may be someone into carpentry. Like one brother contacted us.
Yeah,
He's into carpentry. That's not on the list, but anyone who is into that, we would like to see those groups on there so that we can see all of our carpenters in one place. You see?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all kinds of, I'm telling you, in business, there's so many things you can do. You know, we saw a guy one time that had these, it was this thing was incredible. It was in Detroit, but there was this cart that a dog could pull a little kid in. It's almost like you see the horses pulling
Yes.
things. It was like a wagon-like cart that was made to sit on the side of a nice big dog, like a Rottweiler. And he would walk the Rottweiler with a leash, and the kids could sit in this cart. And he's pulling this thing. Those things were selling. Tracy even made one that time.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Sure did.
So stuff like that's a good idea. Even dog houses. I mean, there's so many
It's
different
all
things.
kinds of things. Yeah.
Someone asked about what about having our own midwives? That is an excellent idea.
Yes. Mhm.
And so if you join the network, that's a group that we should have there. Because we know people. I mean, even when we did our first home birth, we were looking for midwives, and we were living in Michigan at the time, and we didn't see any of our own people.
Yeah.
And so we did have a Gentile come to the house, and we ended up chickening out and just going to the hospital that particular time because I wasn't ready. But when we moved here, pardon me?
She wasn't ready.
And so we ended up just going to the hospital. But once we got here, my husband and my daughter Sophia were the mid husband and the midwife. And with our last home birth, my mom was here as well, so she assisted us as well. So yes, I would love that idea. of having a group that does that as well, because we need to know how to find each other.
That's right.
Um,
Yeah, I would like to have groups with professionals in it, you know, like even dentists and things like that, you know,
Mhm.
people who got careers like that, because, you know, we as Israel, it would be nice if we could deal with our own people, because I know what's going on out there. You know, I've been in the medical profession, and I'm telling you, some of the horrors I've seen makes me just literally don't even want to deal with hospitals, because
Yes.
I've seen horrors like that, you know, that people dying because people just don't have the love for our people when they're doing things. You understand what I'm saying?
yes.
You know, so on
It
that,
is what it is.
Yeah,
To you
it is.
Gentiles watching this,
Yeah.
we have that testimony of knowing what has been
Yeah.
done to our people. So therefore,
yeah, we have that testimony.
Yes.
We know what's going on. We've seen it too
yes,
many
so
times.
we're just all we're simply trying to do is what? We're just trying to alleviate those problems
Yeah,
by establishing our own.
that's right. That's right.
Someone asked about baked goods. I think that's a great idea as well.
hmm
And to the person, Sister Tanya asked about that. As far as baking, when we get into the group, we can talk about ways of doing that. Because sometimes when you're doing things in an already established market, it's all about, it will be basically something that you're trying to enter into a market that's already established. So it's going to be in how you name yourself. You got to give yourself a unique name to make people say, "Ooh, I want to try this over here." We talked about that last week.
Right.
Trying something that is naming your business differently because of an already established market. You want to set yourself apart just with that. Okay. One thing I wanted to say too, a lot of our sisters make bath and body products. Okay. And I think it's a good idea, unless you've already branded yourself as an individual company. One idea that I was thinking, if we established a particular company that deals in bath and body products, and your line of products can be sold within that company. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You see how Nike has shoes, right? But within that line of shoes, you have Air Jordan shoes.
Right.
You see, that are carried under that Nike logo. This could possibly help our sisters who have a company that they're trying to really get out there. If we have a company that houses or is a certain, I don't want to call it cosmetics, but bath and body products, we have a basic name, but we carry that each person's line of products within that name. And even if the line has its own product, if we have something that's unique, pushing it together, that will make it so all of our sisters who make these products can get good exposure. Okay, and anytime if you all want to ask a question, please feel free to put it in here. Sister Lisa says, I like this, organic lines. I definitely like that.
Mhm.
That is definitely a move in the right direction. We need to do this. And so,
Like I said too, we mentioned this last week. We are putting together a marketplace for it too, internet marketplace. We're trying to get things done together with it first. Some more issues. Yeah, give us some water.
Okay.
Grab me one too.
Okay.
But anyway, we will talk to you about that once we get things set up. Hopefully by next week when we do our business broadcast, we'll be ready to send you guys there as well.
and if we need a little bit more time, please bear with us
Yeah.
because we want to iron out everything.
Yeah.
And what we're actually hoping to do is start having our broadcast, or not really broadcast, but having our chats over at the site now, because I think we wanted to have these on YouTube just to get those that are interested.
Right.
And the rest of our talks can be had at the site.
Yeah, at the site. So
Yeah.
because then you'll be able to participate with your camera and everything. So
Okay. All righty, so let's keep on moving. I mentioned too, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I mentioned too something about us having a publishing company that will deal specifically with our educational materials. I think it's very important that we do that because we need to create quality materials for our own children. And we all need to put our eyes on it to make sure the material is great.
Right.
And we could also make it available to the general public. It's not something that we're making just exclusive, but we need to start producing materials that are more reflective of our culture as well. And I think as moms and dads, we can do this.
Yeah.
Me and my husband, we started years ago putting together certain things, and we have a lot of things in the cache,
Yeah.
in the queue, because we haven't had the time to finish them properly because they're not something that we could just release out there. Even with some of the work we've already produced, I found errors on some of the things. And so if we have a team of people working together, we can make sure that all of our material is A+, A1, you see. And when we first started off in homeschooling, we were using Abeka Christian Academy. And we wanted to phase out of that for obvious reasons because it was not reflective of our culture at all. And a lot of people on our homeschool network, and this was some years ago, more than 8 years ago, they were asking, do anyone know of any Black curriculum? And so that was kind of our vision and goal and reason behind putting together the Black Academy.
Right.
But it became very burdensome for us because you want to put out enough, but imagine if we were all working, doing this together.
Exactly.
We can get a lot accomplished. So a publishing company, I think, is a great idea for producing materials for our young people. Now, as far as other books and things of that nature, maybe at some point, but I think the focus right now should be more on, unless someone else already has a publishing company that they would like to promote. And yes, like the sister said, a publishing company is something that is easy to do.
Yeah.
It's very easy. There's a lot of self-publishing going on, but imagine if we had our own, the reason I want to keep the focus on children's education material initially, not saying that we won't branch off later, is because we want to publish things that are going to be, we know are going to be marketable.
That's right.
And but anyone who wants to self-publish, there is we can have a separate part of our publishing company to deal with those who want to self-publish in terms of helping them to edit and do things like that.
Right.
Unless someone, like I said, already has a publishing company where they want to help people publish other types of books like novels. Because everything that comes into a publishing company are not going to get published.
Right.
Notice people, they'll send their books or their manuscripts or what have you, or their writings to a publishing company, and they'll look at it and they'll say, well, no, we're not interested. So we want to make sure that we're spending time on things that are marketable.
Yeah.
Everything is not marketable. And so we got to keep it real, family, on everything that we do.
You got to do that market research. You don't want to spin your wheels and there's not a market for it.
Okay, someone says 12 Tribes cartoons for the kids. I love the idea. I love it.
It is nice.
I love the idea. As a matter of fact, anyone who is into animations or illustrations, we have a lot of artists here in the house, but that's not something we have the time to do. Our daughters have done some things. They are getting very good at that. But imagine if we had a team of illustrators when we publish books, even children's books, not just education materials, but one thought I had is incorporating this into our children's education. We had a session a couple of weeks ago with the kids where we sat down and we had a talk session with them for class. And after we had the talk session, we told them that we wanted them to, based on what we've talked to them about, we want you to write your own similar story. And of course, we gave them some pointers on how to be creative with their thoughts, right? Now, they came up with some really good stories, to even when the older kids read their stories, the younger kids' stories. They was like, wow, Shim, you did a good job with this one.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, I like Shim's story a whole lot, so that made the younger ones like, Sophia said she really liked my story, That made them feel proud. So I was thinking, what if we had sessions with our children where we can give them stories, biblical stories. These are our ancestors, right? We give them biblical stories, and we have them bring it into their perspective and write these stories from their perspective, bringing it in today's time.
Yeah.
And so we can have a line of children's books as well. This is something that would include the children in the business process, you see. So these are just some of those ideas that we are looking at. Okay. I'm going to try to look at more of the things that are being put forth here in the chat. Okay, wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah, I do wish I could find someone that was into animation. I mean, straight up animation. Like we said, we could do basic graphics. You know, we got graphics artists here that can do just about anything graphics. But then when it comes to animating those graphics, that's a whole different ball of wax. And so it would be nice if I knew someone that could do animation.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to work with a person like that, you know.
Or if there's a number of you who are into illustration and all of that,
Yeah.
if we can, again, like the sister said, or sister or brother, I'm not sure if it was sister or brother, but publishing is something very easy to do. Very easy to do.
Yeah.
And so once you do the layouts and you do all of the, you get your ISBN number and all the things that are required. For the person who said they can't pull up 12 Tribes Network, just go to 12tribesacademy.com. You should be able to pull it up. But once we start writing these stories and we all overlook them, edit them, or whatever we have to do to get them to market, we can have a really awesome set of children's books, because we're always saying, okay, we need books to reflect our culture. There are a lot of books that are done by so-called Black people for Black people, but they don't necessarily represent the 12 tribes. They're some of them are secular in nature. Some of them are talking about this, that, or the other, things that may not be something we want to push,
Right, exactly.
to our children that are in the truth. Okay. So that is something that I think that we can look towards as well. Now, another thing that I was thinking would be a great venture, because this is something else that's easy to do. Having our own record label.
Yeah.
Okay. Having our own record label, because there is a lot of talent amongst Israel.
It sure is. There's so much talent among Israel. Each time I look around, somebody got a CD and doing this, and like, wow, it's that much talent, My son here, he has his CD, it's finally done and out, and
He
It's
wasn't
all
ready.
good. It's all good.
it's all good. Okay, he wasn't ready yet.
Yeah, okay.
But anyway, my daughter, she's working on
We're
the
so
CD.
sorry.
My daughter, she's working on the CD, and so it's it's a lot of talent out there, and doing music and stuff. So, I mean, we definitely need our own record labels and stuff,
Now, what a record label does, we remember when Kirk Franklin first came out.
Yeah.
There was a sister who started a record label, and because she recognized his talent, her testimony was that her record label made $2 million because she found some really good talent and she put money behind that talent. And so she made some very good money with her record label just by recognizing some good talent. And so we were thinking, with all the good talent in Israel, if we establish something of this nature, we could do very well. As far as Yah Saves, I believe there's a software called Go Animate. I believe he uses that software. That's a software that's online. As far as animations, we're looking more so for something that is something we produce ourselves.
It's something more
Right. Customized for us.
There you go.
We have seen some of his videos, but I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he used Go Animate, which is a software online that anyone could use. And
Yah Saves,
make animations.
he's on YouTube.
yes, Yah
Okay.
Saves. I've seen some of his work, but if that is the case, then we are looking for someone who actually does the animation themselves, in terms of getting work done, because I'm not sure if if the animations from Go Animate are able to be resold or anything of that nature. I'm not sure.
His name is Got Saved 777.
Yes.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yes.
There
Okay.
it is.
Okay. Now another thing, when we talked about this, that basically our company is marketing and advertising and branding. Okay, and another brother contacted us who does something similar. So I think establishing our own marketing company, those of us who are into this, joining together, joining teams on this to help push our products, our services, our ventures, our books, our music. I think that's a great idea. Whenever you're marketing a business, you have to put your best face forward. Okay. And that's one of those things that sometimes Black people don't always know how to do that. Not all, because some do understand that presentation is everything.
Yeah, it
But-
is.
But we have seen some so-called Black businesses that will just put a hand-drawn flyer out there. Now, if that's the best they can do, we understand that. But sometimes that reflection of your business is not the best reflection. So if we can help each other by offering affordable services in that regard, having affordable services in that regard is what we need to do. Also, business cards, things of that nature. If you can help your brother or sister out with something like that, sometimes we'll pass out business cards. Not us, but I'm just saying so-called Black people in general. They'll pass out business cards that are scribbled on or whatever. Always make sure that when you're trying to represent your company, you're putting your best thing out there.
Exactly.
That's what you want to do.
You got to look professional, professional. And you keep in mind too, I've seen people do this, and you got to be a business. You can have business cards, you can have the best stationery, you can have the best everything, and the business still might not take off. You really got to do market research with your business,
Mm-hmm.
But if you are going to have stationery, business cards, make sure it's professional, and make sure you choose the right type of logo and the right everything matters.
Mm-hmm.
When you're establishing a business,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it too many times where a person he'll start a business and he just got passing out business cards and thinking that just because he's passing out those business cards, his business is gonna take off like crazy. And a lot of times you just printed a lot of cards and it don't do anything because you're trying to sell something to people that don't want it. Okay, so you definitely got to make sure in everything you do on that market research, just got to make sure. Because you can waste a lot of time and a lot of money buying stationery and all kinds of other things. So before you even get to that point, you want to make sure that you have a marketable business. Some ideas are excellent. I found it kind of strange when we used to be dealing in internet auctions that sometimes I would go to a store like Big Lots and find things and sell it on the internet. And I say, well, why don't they just go to Big Lots? Then I discovered Big Lots wasn't everywhere.
Yeah.
So it was a market for those items on the internet because people they didn't have Big Lots, and they may even be a Big Lot in some states. You know what I'm saying? And so those items were hot items, and people wanted those items. The only place they can get them were at Big Lots.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, market research is kind of like that. You got to make sure that you have a market for it, that item. And then once you got that market, then you go ahead on and you get your stationery tight. You get your business cards, your letterheads, you get all of those things together, and anything else that you're doing, is going to represent your business. You want it to be professional. You don't want anything to look ghetto, okay? Because people, they get a sense of if you think about it, if your stationery and everything you're doing look ghetto, then that tell them your work may be ghetto. You see what I'm saying? Or what you're selling may be put together ghetto, or whatever, So you just you want to be professional in everything that you do.
Yes.
It's nothing. I love giving business to our people.
Yes.
I love it, and I hate it if I go to give business to someone and it's just not up to. You know what I'm trying to say.
The customer service is not up to par.
Customer service is crazy. It's like here's a good example. Something I had purchased this microphone wireless microphone, pretty penny for it too, you know.
Mhm.
And the company that I purchased it from was Tiger Direct. So I thought that, not Tiger Direct, BH Gate, BH All Photo. And so I was feeling like, well, a company like BH Photo, this would be fine. So when I called them up and talking about their products, the guy was telling me, well, you know, I really wouldn't buy anything, you know, for that particular company. I said, well, why y'all selling it on your site then?
Now, hey, y'all, that ain't no black site either.
It sure ain't. That's right.
We're
Just give me an example. So I'm like, well, why y'all selling these things then if they're horrible?
Yes.
You know, you all got them stocked all in your store and on your website, you know. And so the bottom line is, you know, sell good stuff. You know, if you're going to sell it, you're going to make products or whatever. Make sure you got good stuff and have good customer service. You know, you call one time I purchased this one thing, like I was saying. And when I called the company up, saw the number, called them up, and man, I thought I was in I don't know what it sounded like. It sounded just whack and crazy, you know. They said, "Oh, hold on a second," and this, I'm like, man, what kind of company is this, you know? So you trust me, people, when they get a sense, it's okay to have a mom and pop business, okay? You just don't want the world to know that you got a mom and pop business. You know what I'm saying? You want to appear to be like you a serious business, got your things, all your ducks in a row, and everything is just tight, basically, you know.
Your chickens in a row.
Your chickens, yeah.
Have it all lined up.
Have it all lined, yeah. Be organized with your business and everything, because people will get a sense of it, you know. I've seen people where such horrible customer service. Until you got a client, anytime you got a client telling you, no, I don't want it this way. This is how I want it. I want it to be here. And you fight with it. No, I'm going to do it like this. The customer is like, well, what is going on? That I'm trying to tell you what I want, and you going to give me something else. That person be like, I never go back. Never. You see? So keep those things in mind, you know.
When we were talking about including your children in your business too, and that customer service thing, as he was speaking, this came to my mind. When we lived in Belleville, Michigan, there was a dentist that we found. There was a black dentist right there in Belleville, and that's where we went. And they were great. When we got there, their receptionist was their 12-year-old daughter. And this little lady was so professional. She
sure
knew
was.
everything. When she answered the phone, you couldn't tell you were talking to a 12-year-old. She was so polite, so articulate. When
so
she
together, yeah.
Together. When she made the appointments, she handled her little business.
She sit there, be writing stuff down in the book and answering the phone. I mean, she took care of everything, filing stuff, and I was sitting there like, I said, man, this 12-year-old girl doing this stuff like this, you know?
Handling her business.
Yeah, handling her business.
And I'm going to be honest with you, those were the best teeth cleanings I ever had.
Yeah.
When we got down here, there was a company that I went to get my teeth cleaned at, and I promise you, she just she went in and out of my mouth so fast it wasn't even funny. I said, man, I could have did this myself.
Yeah.
But this particular dentist in Belleville, I mean, she handled her business. She was very thorough with cleaning our teeth, and
that's right.
And so our people can give good service. We just want to make sure that any business we start, that we're giving the best service possible.
That's right.
You know, we want to give it the best service possible. And there's a brother, the Chef's Music. He says he is a music producer and songwriter in the DC area. And so, brother, if you are interested, we would definitely like to have you work with or join one of our groups so that we could do some work together, because, like we said, that there's a lot of talent amongst Israel. Even in our own home, our children produce a lot of music. Sophia, she produces some great movie music.
She sure
a lot of the majority of the music you hear in some of our documentaries, this is her work from scratch. And sometimes she have us scratching our head like, wow.
Yeah.
And even some of the music you haven't heard, we have we put it in our MP3 player. We just listen to it sometimes. It's so beautiful. And so having our own record label will do, it will allow those who don't have the money to really market their music or their talent. We as a group of business owners working together, we can promote that music in a way that an individual may not be able to do on their own. I don't know if this person is joking or not, but they said, what about opening the liquor store? So we're going to keep on moving from that one. We're going to keep on moving from that one. Okay, I like the idea. We mentioned this before too, that in one of our videos, that owning land is a very important thing. And when you own land, you can do certain things owning land that you cannot do in your home. And I want to, we're going to have an agricultural group as well, because those of us who grow food already, there are some things that I want to talk to you about that I'm not going to really talk about here on the broadcast, but those of us who grow food already and grow herbs and things of that nature, there are some things that we can do as well. So there's so many things that we can do. We're already doing this stuff. You see, we're saying things that we're already doing. Let's formulate a business. That's why I say it's a lot easier than you think to start a business. But what we're trying to do now is everybody working together, right?
Right.
And we're all already doing things. We have professionals who are already doing things, and having a way to market and put ourselves in front of each other so that someone knows that you have this particular professional organization. Someone knows you're a doctor or a lawyer because you're part of the network. So that's what the goal is here, and to develop our businesses. Okay. Okay, we already talked about the homeschool legal defense thing, establishing our own on that. All of us can be pretty much participants in that, because this is a network that we're establishing, but there are some specific things that need to be done. And I think we have the family that was showed a lot of interest in that. They've done a lot of legwork on this, but there's something that we can all do, even if it's just helping to market. There's something that we can all do in making sure that all of these ideas are getting out there. Someone said land is quite cheap in some parts of Africa. Oh boy, do I wish we can do that. But everybody is not able to move to Africa. Land. Yeah. Everyone's not able to do that, and everyone is not willing to do it. But I love the idea. It's definitely something I would want to do as a family, you know? Yeah. But we can only move according to the Most High's will. And if he said it was okay, trust me, we'll be on the first plane smoking out.
Yeah. We try to move according to the guidance of the Spirit. We don't just look at a place and say, hey, let's go do it, you know. We have to be cautious like that, because too many times we would have done things and the Most High held us back, you know. And had we done those things or moved to those areas, we would have been like, what in the world did we do? You know? So on that note, we decided to just be careful when we're doing things. Anyway, when you're doing something like trying to buy land in areas, you really got to do some serious research. We ain't talking about business. Yeah. Business is one thing, because it's easy to research and do market research in the business. But when it comes to purchasing land, there's a lot you got to know about that land. I mean, a whole lot. You just can't just buy land. You know, I've seen people go buy land, and then after they buy the land, they'd be like, man, it's like a desert. No water, nowhere. And it's like, man, dude, you know, you don't want to, you got to be careful. Yeah. You know, so.
And what area you're in.
Yeah, you got to know if you're in a flood zone or earthquake zone or hurricane zone, or, you know, it's all kinds of stuff. You need to know the laws of that land, what type of rights, what type of corruption is in that land. And it's a lot of that you need to know when doing that. Someone had given us a very nice book that's dealing with the
strategic relocation.
That's right, strategic relocation guide, and it was awesome. The book is awesome. It shows you. This is in the United States, basically. What the book shows you land if you want to purchase land in different states. It tells you a good breakdown of these states and what you got to look out for in the states and hazards and things like that.
Yeah, as far as land, again, too, like we talked about last week, we talked about a young family that we met around here where they're raising livestock. Those are some of the great things you can do with land.
Land, yes.
Having a space for livestock. Livestock is not only a food source, but it's an income source, because you can sell that livestock. There's a place around here that actually does livestock auctions too. Yeah. So it's endless possibilities when you have land. Endless. And so
you can grow stuff. You could man, it's amazing what you can do with land. Imagine this here, right? We saw a video, and that's why I say business. You'd be surprised what you can do in business, right?
Mhm.
We saw a video where this person had brought this land, and they had all these maple trees on this land.
Mhm.
Like, can you imagine the cost of maple syrup?
Yes.
Man, that person, they tapping those trees and all of those trees like that, and and not only that, you ever heard of truffles? Are they called truffles?
Yes.
These things are called truffles,
Mhm.
but it's like some type of root that they're digging out under it's a tree root. And this lady they showed this video where this lady would take her dog on this land, and this dog would sniff them out, and she'd dig them up and dig up these roots. These truffle roots are worth so much money, it ain't funny.
Yes.
I'm talking about thousands of dollars
Yes.
for these little truffles. You know, I'm like, man, you know. So it's things like that cost money that you wouldn't believe. Some land may have a lot of pecan trees on it.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, so land is like, man, you'd be surprised what you can find on some land. No
And
kidding you.
even the lumber itself. And
That's right.
there's a particular mushroom that comes every year on our land here. Chanterelle mushrooms.
That's right.
They are so expensive
Yeah.
to buy. And every year it seems to expand too.
Yeah.
When we first started seeing them, we would get a small patch, but it started expanding. If you go online and you look these particular mushrooms up, those mushrooms cost so much money just for a few ounces.
That's right.
So we literally have thousands of dollars worth of that stuff growing on this land right here.
Yeah.
Of course, we eat ours. We don't sell them. We dry them out sometimes, but it seems to be expanding. So even with mushrooms, now we know there's a debate. They are delicious. Now we know there's a debate. Some people say, well, mushrooms, you're not supposed to eat them, but we don't know. We don't
Didn't
know.
say that nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone has opinions on what we're supposed to do and what we're not supposed to do. So you look at the scripture for the best source of that information. But anyway, even those.
Yeah. Another one I want to bring out too is like there's an item called horseweed. It's a plant.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Most people consider horseweed as a weed. I mean, you see it in your backyard. I've seen it all my life in backyards and never knew what it was. One day we typed up horseweed on the internet and researched it. The herb from the horseweed.
Excuse me for 1 second. I don't mean to interrupt you, sweetheart, but maybe we shouldn't say horseweed because people will think we sell
They
weed.
selling weed. No. It's the plant is called horseweed.
There's a scientific name for it.
Yeah. But most people know it as horseweed. So you could go to Google and type of horseweed. Okay.
Of
But
course,
ain't-
baby,
you
I
know.
do that because people are always looking for stuff.
I know, right?
Yeah. So basically, this stuff is, I was surprised at how much they're selling this stuff for when you dry it out or whatever and get the herb from it. And it's for medicine.
There's all kinds of
There's all
uses.
kinds of uses for it, but it's expensive. And I looked up back then, we had a patch of it growing in one whole area.
A patch.
Yeah, it was
A
more than a patch. Yeah, you're right.
We had so much of that stuff growing back then.
Yeah.
You know, it was a trip. We looked it up online in the powder form. 13 ounces of it was $69.
13 ounces.
$69.
Oh yeah, don't forget the what they call them things. You know the green onions.
Oh yeah, the wild garlic.
Yeah,
wild
wild
onions.
garlic.
Yeah.
And the plantain,
Yes.
that stuff is expensive too. You know, if you were to go online and try to buy it as an herb, man, but some of that stuff just grow wildly on land. And so if a person were buying land, you look and see what that land got. You'd be surprised what's on that land that's valuable that most people don't know about.
Mhm. Yeah, the sky is the limit with land. There's so much
Yeah.
you can do. I mean, you can even, we thought about this. If you move to a rural area and there are no storage units there, what if you use, and you have a lot of land, of course, and you
Yeah.
have the space for it. In the front part of your land, what if you had a storage unit? A storage building, because those are pretty affordable to put up too.
Yeah,
So that's a
right.
source of income right
That's
there
right.
on your land, and all of your other stuff can be. And I'm talking about somebody with a lot of land. I'm obviously not talking about somebody with
With an acre. Yeah.
right, not enough space to do that because you don't want to have all this constant flow of traffic on your business. Some people might though, because there's a company here, not too far from here. Remember, he said they moved here 26 years ago, and they started a nursery. and I believe it's 30 acres they have.
Yep.
And this nursery right now is the
Oh, I'm
best and
telling you.
biggest.
It's incredible what these people are doing. When I went and saw this thing, I said, man, this is incredible. I mean, they grow all types of fruit trees and they have I mean, it's you go to, it look like little heaven, you know, like
Yes.
they got this
It's
huge
awesome.
farm with, they selling these different ducks and geese and swans and some everything, you know, and I'm like looking at it like wow, and then they got the house over to the side here.
Yes, overlooking
But
all of it.
Overlooking all, it's just incredible. But when you get land like that, you start to do these things, building all these greenhouses and all this. Now they sell so much stuff, it ain't funny. It's obvious when you look at how all the things that they have, you can see their prosperity is just flowing.
He even sells fruit trees and
Yeah.
regular trees. He sells all kinds of
Yeah.
Our
trees.
trees, some of our trees we got.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we got
right.
a lot of our fruit trees from them.
That's right.
And when we looked at how much we spent there, I said, man, based on what we spent, I know they're getting towed off
Yeah.
because they have customers there all the time. Sometimes we would go there just about one thing just to look at the land.
Yeah.
We go there just about a couple plants just so
Yeah.
we can take our kids to see the ducks because they have exotic ducks, they have
Yeah.
regular ducks, geese, swans. They sell all
Sell
of it.
all of it.
So you understand, family, what we're talking about here. We're saying we have to have a prosperity frame of mind.
Yeah, that's right.
You see, the Most High said what? He said, if you seek ye first the kingdom of Yah, all of these things will be added unto you.
That's right.
And so that's why we promote more than anything. We talked about doing a business seminar years ago, but it's like the Most High put it in our spirit to kind of hold off on that a bit, that his people need to prosper first spiritually.
Yeah.
And so this is why we try our best to put the best spiritual food out there so that we can grow thereby, because while our soul is prospering, the Most High will prosper our businesses.
That's
But
right.
we got to make sure that we handle in his business first, and he will handle ours.
That's right.
So that's the whole thing, including the Most High in all of this. You
Yeah.
know, the scripture also says what? It is Yah that giveth you the power to get wealth.
That's right.
Now, wealth is not for everybody. Even with this, we've had people who are opposing even this. Like we're all supposed to be broke, both busted, and disgusted that we shouldn't be talking about business. I mean, you'd be surprised how people think.
We're not. Let's understand something. We're not preaching a prosperity doctrine.
No.
We're talking about networking and coming together and starting our own businesses so that we feeling this crunch, you know, when things get to start collapsing and imploding, you know, when this government starts imploding, you got your own thing that you're doing anyway.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And you're not dependent on some company. You can get all your eggs in one basket. As soon as that basket break and fall, all your eggs is gone and you gone, you know?
Right.
So we're simply trying to say, hey, let's do things different. Let's depend on each other, you know? Let's work together. Let's network, you know? Let's do our own businesses, you know? And so that's what we're trying to do. You know, we're trying to get things like that because, you know, together we stand. Divided we fall. The enemy knows this, you know.
Mhm.
So this is why we got to work together. This is why we got to network. This is why we got to build these businesses, you know. This is why we got to get out here and we got to make money with our businesses, you know.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now, we all need money.
yeah,
I mean, you have a group of people who feel, you know, people say that Yah will take care of us. Well, how do Yah take care of us? He don't expect us to be ignorant and thinking that we're supposed to sit back and just wait for our bills to be paid from some check that's gonna fall from heaven.
yeah.
We have to make money. We have to do that.
Yeah.
You know, we can't be so spiritually minded to where we're no earthly good. And I know that that's a cliche that we've heard so many times in the Christian church, but it still stands true because you all will be surprised some of the messages we get from people.
Yeah.
You all would be surprised. We don't share it all the time, but it can get frustrating sometimes when you're trying to tell our people, say, look, there is more that Yah has for us, but we have to seek for this.
Right.
He says, seek and ye shall find, knock and the door shall be open unto you, ask and it shall be given. It's nothing wrong with asking that your needs be met.
That's right.
You know, just because, and you know, a lot of people use the curses. They like to say, well, the curses said we was going to be this, the curses. Yes, but when we repent, the Most High can bless us. Don't think
That's right.
that you have to be poor, broke, busted, and disgusted all the time just to prove that you're an Israelite.
That's
Because
right.
if we repent, the Most High will and can bless us.
That's right.
So we got to get out of that poverty state of mind.
That's
But
right.
in all that you do, make sure Yah is first.
That's right.
That's one thing we've been talking about amongst ourselves for years. That if we handle Yah's business, He will handle ours.
We handle ours.
And
that's
that's
right.
what we want. That's what we're trying to put forth to you all. So anybody who's just trying to get into this just to be in business, but you're not handling your business with Yah, it won't work.
It won't work. Yeah, you got to handle your business. One thing I learned about the fathers this year, and I've said this parable before a few times, and we talked about this. But when you look at the parable where it talks about the talents, okay, that should be enough to make you say, okay, it's something to this thing. Because he said he delivered unto his servants so many talents. And you know the story where the talents were actually money, okay? And they were supposed to take their money and put it to the exchanges, which means they were not that don't mean stock market, you know, but it means that you're supposed to take that money, you're supposed to invest that money and build that money out in the marketplace or whatever, you know. And when the master came back, one guy, he didn't take the money and invest it. He just put it in the ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what did he say to him? He said he called him a wicked and slothful servant. And he didn't take it out and riotously live with the money and blow the money. No, he just simply buried it in the ground. So when the master came back, he said, here's what you gave me. Here it is. And the master got angry with him and said, I should have had double when I came back.
Yes.
You know, I didn't give you this so that you could just put it in the earth. You understand? So he called him a slothful and wicked servant. So the Most High expects us that if we have money, to invest that money and to start businesses and to build that money into an enterprise, you know, build it into a network or whatever it is that you're trying to do. He expects you to take that money and prosper. He wants you to prosper, you know. So so that's what this is about, you know. We're trying to say, in other words, there's a lot of ways out here that you could actually make money. A lot of businesses that you could ideas that you may have an idea in your head right now that may be worth a lot of money, that idea. You understand? And so all we're saying is, hey, try these ideas, you know, see if there's a market for these ideas. You'd be surprised what foolish idea that could make somebody millions of dollars. Just like we said before, somebody came up with My Pet Rock. Mm-hmm. I remember when that came out in the 70s, My Pet Rock, they did an infomercial about it. Mm-hmm. They said, you can have your own pet rock and put it in a box as your own rock, you know. And people I can't believe that they sold over 1 million of those things. My Pet Rock. Mm-hmm. You know, you could have went out in the backyard and got your own pet rock. No, you had to order theirs.
But you see, that's one of those novelty items we were talking about. Sometimes novelty items pay off because people want to buy it just because it's something unique and different and it doesn't cost much. And I have a few novelty ideas that I want to share with our group once we establish the group. It's something that's an already established thing, but the name itself makes it a novelty item. And so we're thinking with these small projects, if we start with a small project, we can all kind of like test the waters to see where we can go from here. That's and once a project gets off the ground, we go on to the next one, and to the next one, and to the next one. And we can build a network so large and so prosperous. I just believe that this can happen.
Yeah.
You see, I believe that this can happen, but it can only happen if we all have the right mindset. And that mindset needs to be, first of all, righteousness. We have to work as we work unto Yah. Yeah. Anything that we have to do for the glory of Yah. And the whole concept and idea behind this business is to help our people. So already we're starting off on the right ground because this is something that we want to do to help our people.
That's right.
And at the same time, we need to be fed spiritually. And so we have a lot of great teachers out here. We've seen other Israelite teachers that are great teachers as well. And that was our whole thought behind producing educational materials for our children.
That's right.
Because our children, one thing a lot of people don't keep in mind is that they are the next generation. As we all get older, we're going to need the next generation to have it tied up here.
Yeah.
Right. And we are the ones to prepare them for that now. We have to prepare them for that now. So instead of waiting on somebody else to come out with some reading materials for our kids or some books for our kids that are going to teach them what they need to know, instead of us always waiting, I hope somebody come out with this. Why don't we come out with it?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's just too easy to do things these days. And so we don't have to wait for others to come out with it. We'll come out with it. That's what
Yeah.
we'll do, especially working together. It'll be so much more easy.
That's right. It sure will. Sure will.
I want to talk about this real quick too. I'm going to combine these two things right here. Establishing a product and a development team. And then each member of the body is important regardless of how big or how small. I'm going to combine those two, okay? If we have a product development team, it doesn't matter how small. This kind of goes with the lesson that we had, the Shabbat lesson we had yesterday,
Right.
where we were talking about members of the body. Of course, we were talking about make sure that you're giving yourself over to doing righteous things rather than wicked things.
Right. Exactly.
But we also talked about members of the bodies having functions, right? Regardless to how small something may appear to you, everybody is important. Every deed is important. Every part of the body is important. Now, you might be the head, right?
Right.
Somebody else might be the finger.
Yeah.
How often do we even think about our veins? Most of us don't even think about our veins
Yeah.
or our arteries.
Yeah.
But if they get clogged up, we start thinking about them real fast, don't we?
Yeah. That's right.
They become really important then. So even if you just say, well, artery is so insignificant, no, you are not. A vein is not insignificant.
That's right.
It's not insignificant at all. It has a function. So I don't ever want anyone to feel like, well, what I have to do is so small. Every little deed that we do with this is going to be big for us. And it's going to be important to us. And so we just want our people to just find out where you fit in. Even if you don't think there's anything you can do but proofread something. I had a number of people who offer proofreading services. You have no idea how valuable that is
Yeah.
for what we're trying to do here. Because if we're going to be putting out materials to the masses, it's going to be important that everything that we put out is proofread. So,
Yeah.
okay. Just trying to look at, make sure any questions that may pop up. Okay. Someone asked, why do we use YouTube instead of Ustream? Well, YouTube is free, okay?
Yeah.
YouTube is free, and plus, our main channel is here. And so it makes it easier for the video to just go in. YouTube automatically posts it afterwards. Sometimes lately it's been taking longer for the video to be shown on our channel after we do a broadcast, but it's already there. And so, and it's free. We were on live stream when we first started doing this. We were using live stream, and what happened with that, it was only allowing 50 people in our
That's right.
chat. And we would have had to upgrade and pay. So now this is how we are.
Upgrade and paying was really expensive.
Well, some people might say it's affordable, but we don't like to incur any unnecessary debt.
Yeah.
You know, even though you can get another package that takes you to the next level or the next level, whatever, we don't like to incur any unnecessary debt. So,
Then we need to put it on YouTube too.
yeah.
So it's just, it was too many steps. You know, we do, if we record with live stream, we go live with live stream. And then once we get that stream, then now we got to edit it and put it on YouTube anyway. So we just felt like YouTube has a much wider, a much larger audience than some of these other companies. And so we were trying to reach the masses with the messages, basically.
Yeah, and Ustream made it to where you have to come to our site to see the videos or to our Ustream channel
Exactly.
location. And so we try to do what's best for us in terms of monetarily. When you start paying all these monthly obligations, that stuff adds up, and it's better to save where you can. Whatever you can do to save money, that's best. That's the best thing to do.
You know, that brings me to this here too. I thought about this too when you were saying that. You know, sometimes we get things mixed up too when starting a business. I want you to understand where I'm coming from with this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we feel like, man, in order for our businesses to work, we always do all these outward things to try to make the business appear to be very successful. Okay, so a lot of times we'll go and we'll rent spaces.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go and rent this office building here or this office here and there, and that stuff costs money.
Mhm.
Not to mention, once you do that, you're going to need some. You got to pay other bills that's there too. They may have to make you pay electrical, or you may need to get internet for there, right? You may have to have something go, things like that there. So now you're incurring more and more bills, and if you're getting internet there, trust me, it's more for a business than it is for a home.
Mhm.
Okay, what I'm trying to say is, believe me, years ago, me and my wife learned early on that you could run a full business right out your home,
Mhm.
you know. And one of the neat things about it is, if you're doing that, it's a tax write-off,
Mhm.
you know. So it's so much to running a business out of a home. I've seen people run full businesses out of their homes that you wouldn't believe that they were even doing it, you know. Tax services and just all kinds of things, just running it right out the home. Now, let's just say after so long, you get so big, because we knew a lady who we used to do our taxes, and she had a lot of clients out her home. And then eventually she got so huge, you know, until where she had to start doing it. She had to finally get herself a place in the city, you know.
And
where
she even
people,
hired employees.
yeah, she hired employees, and her business started really booming. So I'm saying, in other words, when starting out with the business, start out your home if you can. Do as much as you can out of your home, using your own printers, your own everything. Do as much of that stuff as you can. Try not to incur so much cost up front when you're starting a business, because that's always the things that stop most businesses from growing, is they incur too much cost in the beginning and they can't balance that thing, you know, and then eventually it collapses.
Yeah.
You know, you're not bringing in more money than what you're actually put out there and trying to get the business going. So,
Yes, your monthly obligations chew into your profit to where it's no longer profitable.
that's right.
And so even the internet has made it easier too, because you can have a very
right.
professional looking internet presence to where no one would ever know
That's right.
that you're working from your home.
That's right.
They don't need to know. They
That's
don't
right.
need to know. And so we're hoping that you all are going to glean from some of this information and take it to heart. And the main thing of working together, like I want to go back to what I was saying about establishing a development team.
Yeah.
And members of the body not feeling insignificant. Okay, don't feel insignificant, because everything works together for the good of the whole
Group.
the whole group. Okay, the whole organization.
Yes.
Even down to naming the organization and how to establish things, because some things will have to be a totally separate corporation from other things. And so we want to, those are some of the things that we want to talk about in our private chats on the website, because obviously if we're selling products that people are going to use in Bath and Body, we want to have something totally separate from publishing, you see.
That's right.
And so we want to try to house everything under whatever business entity that we should house it under. As far as the land thing goes, we had mentioned before, when you're buying any type of real estate, whether it's land, buildings, properties, houses, whatever, that you want to have a separate LLC that owns each plot of land. And that's for protection purposes. Okay, so we'll get off into all of that later as well. And when we talk about the product development team, there are some product ideas that we have, and I'm sure some of you have as well. And I'm not necessarily talking about creams and butters and things. I'm talking about gadgets. Okay, there are some ideas that we have to where a product development team, we could all work together on how to package it and get it to market, or finding sources to get prototypes made, or seeing what we need to do to package it the best that we can to get it into mainstream. Some things that we're going to come up with, you all, we'll have to have a very generic name, because if you want to reach outside of just the 12 tribes, you have to package it in a way to where it'll be appealing to the masses and not just to our people.
Right.
And so that's what the product development team is going to be. And that's going to be comprised of people who know how to do graphics. We want to make sure all of our graphics are in line. So if you're selling something that comes in a bag, you don't want it to look like a ghetto bag.
That's
You
right.
want it to look as professional as you possibly
Ghetto
can.
bag.
Right.
Ghetto bag, yeah.
You want it to look very professional, well presented, well packaged, and everything just top notch and on point. Okay.
That's right.
Yes. Putting together money to buy land, I think is a great idea. We do have to be careful with that too, because you can't do everything with everybody.
Yeah.
And let me elaborate on, I was just reading something, I apologize for that. Some people, we have to make sure that everybody we're working with has a Yah frame of mind, because sometimes our people are unrealistic with their expectations. Like I did a video years ago where I was saying, if we all had put $500 together and it was X amount of us, we would have $1 million. Then you can't have a person say, well, I want my cut of the $1 million. Well, your cut would only be what you put in, right? You have to allow the million to grow.
Yeah.
And if you double the money, think about this for a minute. If you double the $1 million and you only put in 500, and you say, well, I just want to cut and run with my double, then you only get double. So if you put in 500, you would only get 1,000, correct? You see? Now that's only if we made double in profit. If we came back with 2 million, and now that's the profit. So we want people to understand. That's why I said when we have a particular idea that we're going to invest in, we want to structure each one a certain way to where if you're looking for something short term, we'll work that out up front so that there is no confusion as to when am I going to get paid for this, that, or the other, right? And if we're investing in a particular person's business and their business right away makes a profit, or a year later they make a profit, maybe you don't want to deal with it anymore. At that time, that person would give you whatever it is you're supposed to get from that, and you can move on from that particular business. So we want to talk about everything up front. Every project that we start, we're going to talk about up front how it should be structured.
Yeah.
If it's a land thing, our whole idea in buying land is not doing it in individual names, but establishing either a foundation or a nonprofit corporation. And the reason is,
I want to show you this question here too while you keep going on what you're saying, but I want you to see this too. That's about corporation.
okay. Doing it in individual names, there can be certain liabilities that may be attached to a person that we may not be aware of.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you'll be thrust into something that you ain't have nothing to do with. What is his name? Malachi Z. York is a good example of that.
Exactly.
So this is why we want to protect the group by establishing either a foundation or nonprofits.
Corporation. Okay. Exactly. This is my concern on a corporation. Does it bring us under Big Brother like the 501c3?
Well, we don't have to establish a 501c3.
Right.
Okay. Establishing the corporation is actually a protection for you.
That's right.
If you have just a regular nonprofit, for instance, this is just a business structure. Excuse me. You have to have that to start a business bank account. You can't. We don't want to do things in our names and then create individual liabilities under our names. Right. It's kind of hard sometimes to explain this when you become an Israelite. We think that everything that we do and that we get is attaching us to Big Brother. And as my dear sister Alicia pointed out, we all drive, and therefore we have to get a government driver's license.
That's right.
In order to drive. So being in the land of our captivity doesn't mean that we can't do certain things. There's a difference with the 501c3. There are so many rules and regulations governing that, and we don't advocate that at all.
Let me give you an example of something about a corporation, okay? Just to give you an example, okay? Let's say that you have someone who starts a business, right? And they just basically get an assumed name and they just start a business that way, just a regular business, right? But they're not incorporated. They have, and let me tell you, the protection that a corporation brings is different than what you being that just having an assumed name and having 2 or 3 people working together owning a business, okay? Now, let's just say that that there's some type of lien that comes against that person that owns that business. Well, they can go after everything that's in that person's name.
Yeah.
Okay, but let me tell you something. If his corporation owns things, they can't touch anything in that corporation. They'll go. He can have $1 million in the corporation fund or in the bank in the corporation's name.
Mhm.
They cannot touch any of that money. They can only touch stuff that's linked to that person's name. You get what I'm saying?
And even if the person is an officer on a corporation, he's just an officer.
He's just an officer.
And
That's
someone
right.
said something about trust here in the chat, establishing trust and sub-trust. These are some of the things that if you're familiar with all of those things, that when we do our private chats, we would love for you to share that information with us,
Yeah.
because all of the information and knowledge we all have together is going to help us, because we don't know about all of these things. And some of you that may know, you can bring that to the table and
That's right.
help those of us who may not be familiar with all of that. But yeah, I think all of these are great ideas in terms of how to structure things, and it's important that we do this so that we are not getting ourselves in trouble down the line. We were going to mention Malachi Z. York, how it was 9 people, I believe, who owned that land that they had in Georgia. And when they came after him, it didn't matter that other people owned the land with him.
That's right.
They took it from all of
They
it.
took it from all of them. That's
Yeah.
right.
They bulldozed all of the buildings and the structures and all of that stuff that they
Yeah.
had on that land, and the government just took it over.
You know. So now let's look at that, the way he had his thing set up now. It would have been a lot harder for them to do what they did had it been a corporation that owned that. It would have been a lot harder for them to just come in and just bulldoze everything down and do all of that stuff. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So that's the difference in the corporation, you know. But we're not talking about, like you said, 501c3 and all. That's a little bit different because the government has a say so in everything that you do when you have a 501c3. But when you just establishing a corporation or a nonprofit, then it's a whole different ball of wax. The rules are different.
Yeah, I remember some things we just find out through trial and error, and some things we find out through research. But when we started our business, when we first moved here, there was a question of whether or not we had to get a business license, right?
That's right.
And we were like, well, we're not a business open to the public. We're just basically doing business online, right? And so we had this little thing back and forth with the city attorney. I'm sorry, the city manager, and we kept insisting that he didn't know what he was talking about.
They got the city attorney involved too.
Yeah,
They did,
and she didn't even know.
And we had to go.
You
We
know?
went to a meeting, and then we were like, "Well, we don't have to. We don't have to."
Yeah, we stood our ground on that.
Yeah.
And so what I did was I called the IRS and I explained everything. And they said, well, no. And then even with the nonprofit, they were saying that we had to have a 501c3 to function as a nonprofit here. We was like, no, we don't. They were like, yes, you do. We was like, no, we don't. So when we called the IRS, we got the individual's control number and everything. We got his name. And so sometimes when you're in these small towns, they don't always know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And so when we contacted the IRS, they said if you have a religious or an educational nonprofit, you don't have to have a 501c3. That's a thing of choice. And that you get an automatic exemption if you have a religious organization or educational. And so when we got that information, and the guy at the IRS said, well, you can give my control number and my name to your city manager and see if they can get in touch with me. And all I had to do was tell them, I said, well, we called the IRS, and here's the person's name, here's his control number, what have you. You can call them and verify what we're saying. They completely backed down after
Yeah,
that.
they were battling with us for more than a year on that thing. He said every year, they said, you guys got to come and get a license. And we were like, we ain't got to come and get no license, guy.
Now, it was only $50,
Yeah.
but it was our $50.
Yeah, and not only that, we were trying to prove a point to you. Ain't gonna take $50 out of our hand, even if it's just 50, by intimidating us, telling us, because you all are the city managers and all this, that we have to do this thing. And we sitting up here looking at the rules, tell us that we don't, So we made a point, and we said, well, we gonna stand our ground on this thing, and we did. And after a couple of years, we finally they backed off. So, okay, they had no grounds to charge us for a business license.
Mhm. And yeah, they backed down completely because we were able to prove what we were talking about. And so, and even with the fact that we were doing business out of our home on the internet and we weren't open to the public, that should have been enough. But because it wasn't, we had to, we had to say, well, look, we are a nonprofit. And so eventually we resolved all of that. So it is very important that you know the laws of your community and your neighborhood, your city, your state, whatever, so that you can operate your business within the guidelines of the law. That is very important.
Absolutely.
Okay, we have a couple more
Still
things
a
and then
lot
we're
of
going to be finished here.
Okay.
Two more things. We want to establish a very minor project first, something that we can all participate in. We talked about this last week, I believe. Something very minor just to get our feet wet and see how this thing operates. Something that's very simple. And I'm thinking maybe this Thursday, we'll send out a blast with a video or something or a newsletter to let you all know for sure. But we're thinking Thursday, maybe 6 or 7 in the evening to allow people to get home from work or what have you. That we will have the chat on the website, 12 Tribes Network or 12tribesacademy.com, so that we can start sharing some of the ideas that we think that we can implement to get things started. But if we start off with something very small, and when I say small, I'm talking about something so small to where it's very minimal investment, mostly time being invested or what have you, I think this will allow us to develop a system of comfort with working with each other just to see how things flow. And anybody's ideas or thoughts are going to be valued as long as they're realistic. We want to be realistic in everything we do. We don't want to be out here wasting our time. We don't want you all wasting your time. And we don't want, this is not a network for feelings to be hurt, but if someone wants to sell pecan shells, you see, and I'm using something like this because, not pecan, I'm sorry, pistachio shells, that might not be a good idea. You see, we use these in crafts here. It's different if you want to sell something that you've crafted and it looks nice. But if you say, I think we should sell pecan shells, if it's not a good idea, we don't want anyone to be hurt or any feelings to be hurt if the group does not believe that is a good idea. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we don't want to discourage anyone either. If some are feeling it and some are not, we want to perhaps see if a group that wants to work on a particular thing would like to do that. Okay. All right. Now, the last thing that we have on our list is really not an instruction, it's just an encouragement. We want you all to be happy in whatever place that you choose to fit into this. Be happy with your place and nurture it to the best of your ability. If you have a job or task, if your job or task is to grow herbs on a farm, don't think of it as a small thing if you are not the one who grows the main crop, okay? Herbs are life-saving.
That's right.
So see, some people may look at herbs and say, well, that's such a small thing to do, but herbs are life-saving.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the person who might be raising 200 heads of cattle, or the person over here who might be growing the corn, or the person who might be doing this over here. Don't look at your task as small. Everybody's job is very important.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to keep that in
Right.
mind as we try to venture off into this. As we go into this, don't think of what you're doing as small at all. Okay, so we're going to take any questions.
Yeah, do we have any questions?
We've seen some coming in and out, but we haven't seen all of them. The one thing I do wish we had with YouTube chat is the ability to copy or save the chat. I really wish they had that feature or function. That would really make it easier for us to go back through and see things. This is why we're going to have our own chat on our site, because it does have a transcripting feature that allows us to go and save the chat. So I do
Yeah.
like that. I do like that for our private talks when we're starting to have meetings, and we want to have initially we may have weekly business meetings, and then we may pull back to not as often, or we'll do them as often as we need to. And so that's what the site is going to be for us to have business meetings when we need to discuss things and iron out things, or if someone has an idea that they would like to present to the group. Remember, we talked about before how there are so many wonderful ideas that are already out here, like the brother who had the what is that? He had the mobile
Barbershop.
yeah, the mobile barbershop. I just absolutely love
Yeah,
that
that was
idea.
nice.
Awesome idea.
Uh-huh.
And that was an awesome idea. And I think it's very marketable, especially for those who live in the city. Okay.
Will we be able to join the website? You could join the website now. Just go to 12tribesacademy.com or 12tribesnetwork.com. It'll take you to the same place, and you could join there.
Mhm. Yes, it is open for joining right now. We do see that some have joined since we started the broadcast. So yeah, we did take out the invitation only thing since we are having this live broadcast, because we figured those that are joining. Of course, we do have the opportunity if someone is coming on as a spammer. We do have the choice of booting anyone who may have been looking at the broadcast who is not supposed to be on there or is not serious. So
They said, can you tell us about taxes or working with an accountant if you work as consultant or have your own business? I need guidance.
well, anyone who is an accountant, because we are not, okay? Anyone who is an accountant that wants to be a part of our group, I think it's a good idea for, even having a group on the site for accountants, those who are into financial matters, having a group so that we can look and find each other. Even if you have a website already established, there's a link on the site, I believe, and if it's not, we can put it there, where you can list your site. It is a module that's on the website, but we have to put the link up there. I'll put the link up there.
Okay.
So if you already have an established site, you can put your site there, and if you want,
sites.
yeah,
Okay.
yes, you can put your site there so that we can find each other in one place. As far as the hosting company, I'm gonna put we have an affiliate. That's another thing that you can do. We have an affiliate account with that particular company. So what we'll do, anyone who's not familiar with what affiliates are, if you have a website or what have you, you can put affiliate links or banners on your site. So if someone clicks on that link or banner, you can get a affiliate commission from that. And so we will post all of that on our site for the person who's asking for the host company. We definitely do recommend them. They've done some things for us. We used to be with one site that when it came to serious technical issues, they did not know what to do. One of them even messed up one of my sites so bad that all of my stuff was gone.
Yeah, we up and got out of there too.
They even gave us 3 years. They said, well, we'll give you 3 years of free service. We're so sorry. This is a big major company too.
Yeah.
We were like, that ain't gonna get my content back.
Yeah, they did great everything. So
And so
after that, we stopped dealing with that company. I was going to go ahead on and drop it up there. You want the sites one or
Yes.
you want the sites home?
all sites is good, just the sites, because
okay.
that'll take you to the sites home too.
Okay,
Thank you
good.
very much, sweetheart.
Uh-huh.
Even some of you who are into websites, we can show you some different things, because we all, we do websites, but sometimes there are other platforms that you can use that are better and different. And the one that we use is very complicated and intricate, so we never really put people on that when we do websites for them, because it will require a lot of wonderful brother Luciendo. He's an accountant, so
That's right. That's right. I was thinking about him
Yes.
on here. I was going to tell you when we got done, maybe we should contact him and see if he wanted to join us too. That's right. He's an accountant.
Okay.
Shalom, brother Luciendo. Shalom.
So anyone who has any particular thing that they're doing, we want you to join whatever group it is, and you should be able to post. We have forums for each group too, all questions and stuff can be directed to those individual groups or forums.
Refresh your page and see if you're seeing the tab up there.
Okay.
For some reason, I don't know what's going on with my.
Okay, I see it there. It
It's
is
up
there.
there. Okay.
Mhm.
So now, if you have a website, if you have your own website or whatever, you can put the link in the sites there. You can actually start your. You can I think you just add a site or something. If you're a member, you can add your site.
Yeah, and it'll take
Yeah.
people right directly to your site. Yes, okay. Okay, someone said something about mobile pet salons. All of these are wonderful
Yeah.
ideas, wonderful ideas. We mentioned the young girl who had the mobile dance studio in Detroit. It was awesome. Her family came together and made that happen for her. And so there are so many different things, so many different ideas. Someone says a group for credit counseling services would be beneficial. Um, a lot of us, some of us are trying to phase out of phase out of credit. I know we have, but those of you who have not, you might want to look at what the scripture says as it relates to credit. We're not really trying to push that because let me see. Black presidents and leaders. Someone just started that group. Oh, that's a site. Okay.
Yeah, that's a site. Someone just started it. Oh no, it's been up for more than a
okay.
year. Yeah.
All right. Any more questions? We're trying to look through both chats here. They're going on both channels, so we're trying to look through both. One thing about the credit too, we're trying. I believe if we can work together, we can phase out of credit. If we can work together as a people, we could try to make sure that our things are funded for us and by us.
Yeah, exactly. You don't necessarily have to. I know. It's years ago when me and my wife got the understanding about credit and owing businesses and just all that stuff. We decided we're going to do the no credit thing and not have to use credit for anything, and that's how we lived our life for years now. And so we recommend that you all try it too. It's not that hard. You just gotta. It's kind of like one of those things you get so used to getting stuff on credit to you. Let me tell you, I know people that got so much credit until it's like, man, and they get so many credit cards, and they always complain about all the bills and all this stuff. And the minute they'll go and cut one card up and then start another one. It's like, what's the point in that? You're trying to get rid of credit, but each time you look around, you start a new credit, you get a new credit card from somewhere. Mm-hmm. So I don't apply for those things. We don't do that thing,
Also, some of you who are posting certain questions or emails and things in the chat, we'll have a group specifically for questions. If you can post them there too, because this is going to disappear. And so if we can have it on the site, those things won't disappear. That'll be easier for those who you're reaching out to be able to record this information, and even for us to be able to reach out to you as well. Okay.
Look like I missed some stuff. Let me scroll back up.
Okay, I like the homeschool consultant. I like that. That's one of those things we could definitely work with you on that, because a lot of parents do need some consulting. They need all kinds of things, and they need materials. They need to know how to get started. And now someone asks, is there a membership fee? To join this network, there is no membership fee. This is something that we're setting up to have talks and discussions and to bounce ideas off of each other. There's no membership fee for that. Now, when you get into individual services that each other may offer, products and services, okay, that's when we get to talking money. If you hire someone to do your accounting, for instance, that's when we're talking money. But as far as joining the 12 Tribes Network, 12 Tribes Academy, no, there is no fee for that. Any area of expertise?
Someone asks, what is a good technical host company to use? Whenever my health gets better, I'll be making sites for family members.
Yeah,
businesses.
I had mentioned to another person who asked to me the question that we're going to put a banner, an affiliate banner on our site, so that anyone who wants to join the host company that we use, I'll put it to you this way: they are very helpful when we need things done. They're very helpful.
Yeah, they're awesome.
But affiliate income that's another thing too. If
Oh,
you have a
yeah.
website, you can put affiliate banners or links on your site and get paid when others join or others buy a service from the company. If someone buys a product or whatever,
That's
so we're
right.
going to put a banner on the site. I think we already have one on Watchman Reports. But,
Yeah,
we're
it
gonna
is
put
one on Watchman Reports on the homepage.
I
You can go
believe
there.
it
Yeah,
is.
it
I
is.
believe. Okay.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
so
you could see it there, but we're gonna set one up on this site too.
We've been with many host companies, and I'm telling you, this has been the best.
Yeah,
This has
they're the
been
best. And I tell you, you gotta have a host company that you can depend on. Like this company is so quick. Let me tell you something. My site goes down, right? There are times where like last night, my site went down for a minute.
Mhm.
When I went on there and typed, just filled out a ticket, they respond so fast until it's like, man, site was up, back and running quickly. And that's what I like about this company. And if you have problems, a lot of times they'll fix these problems, and it's like, wow.
Like I needed to move a site from one location to another.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
And so they took the whole site and moved all of my content and
Yes.
everything from one location to another. They even switched out the domain name and did all of that stuff.
Don't charge you a dime for it because you're with their hosting company.
Yes.
So it's awesome. I tell you, it is really awesome.
Okay. Looking for a couple more questions before we call it quits. Okay, how do you suggest single mothers get into business? Well, I don't know how much of the broadcast you've seen, but what we're trying to advocate for those who don't have a particular business that they want or have, it might be a good idea to join into a group effort, because as far as specific ideas for you, we don't necessarily have that. Although there are things you can do, there has to be something that you have a passion for doing, first of all, and something that you're willing to put your hands into and develop and nurture and all of that. If there's something that you feel you want to do or can do as a single mother and you prefer not to be a part of a group effort, we can encourage you as much as we can with different things that we may know of. And if we do have anything that comes to mind, we can share that with you. But what we're trying to do here, we are really trying to promote the whole idea of working together,
Yeah.
or promoting those who already have established businesses or those who have ideas of businesses that they want to start and they want to see if they can work with the group to get it going. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. If we do have something, we would share it. Okay.
Are there any more questions?
The program that we use to make our meditation CDs, we just use just basic any type of audio programming.
You talking about the music CD or the DVD?
I think she said the meditation.
Because I got both. I have a DVD and I have a.
Well, there are all kinds of. We use Adobe for the video, Adobe Premiere Pro and Adobe After Effects, and then for the audio we use Audacity, and we use what's the other one? Cakewalk.
Yeah.
So
And then what I do sometimes is like I have another program that I just take the audio right from the video. If I do a video,
mhm.
But it's real simple, just put the music behind it or whatever. And
Do we have the transcripts for any of the meditation YouTube videos? They are great. My wife and I listen to them and start. And so, yeah, I do believe we have the written
written-
version of those. Yes, we do. We do. I just have to I know I have some on my computer, my husband
Yeah.
has some on here, so yeah, we do have the written version of that.
I may put it under the video. I thought I did. I'm not sure, but I thought I had put those underneath the video itself.
Okay. There are so many different things that you can do, whether you're a single mom, single dad, a
Yes.
family, a couple, whatever. So many different things that you can do to start a business at home. You just got to make sure that you have the passion, the drive, and then the ambition
Yeah.
to see it through. Because, like we said, it's easy to start a business, but it takes a lot more when it comes to promoting and
People give
nurturing and
up.
developing.
People give up too easy. Let me tell you something. You gotta be a person that's just, you can't give up. You know, you gotta be a person that when you start a business, you gotta push that thing through. You know what I mean? You just gotta keep on and build it, keep on building it, keep on building it, you know? In everything that we've started, businesses that we've started and things that we've done, we stayed on those things. We expanded those things. We stayed on. Then when, if it was a business that the market, like for instance, when we were doing internet auctions, eventually we got to the point where we said, okay, the business was changing. You know, the market was changing. And so we were like, okay, we were ready to really get out of it, you know. And so we did. We kind of got out of the internet auction thing, you know.
Mhm.
But internet auction was excellent. You know, I mean, even right now, a person can make really good money in internet auctions, especially if you're in a nice big city like Detroit or a big city where there's a lot of what do you call those little shops?
Wholesale.
Not wholesales. Where people antique shops.
Oh yeah.
You'd be surprised at things that's at an antique shop that people will spend a lot of money for. You'd be surprised, you know. And so I was always visiting those antique shops, you know, grabbing certain things and looking them up on the internet, seeing what they were going for. And, you know, you'd be surprised at what people would be having a garbage can. Like my sister-in-law, my brother's wife, she found 2 pictures that somebody threw in a dumpster behind her work. So she grabbed the 2 pictures out and put them on eBay, and those things sold for over $100.
Yes.
You know, she's like, man, this was in the garbage.
Mhm.
So you'd be surprised what you can do on the internet to make money. I mean, it's just a ton of ideas and just things that you can do.
Now, someone asked, what software do we use to make our worksheets? We use Nova Development Art Publisher Pro. That's an excellent software.
Yeah, that's excellent.
A lot of people use, I can't even think of Photoshop. I don't know. I can't think of the name of it, but some of those softwares are so hard to use.
Yeah.
But we use Publisher Pro, Art Publisher Pro, and it is excellent. It has so much design flexibility.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a worksheet software. It's just a publishing software. But I just happen to use that when making my worksheets because it has design flexibility unlike anything I've seen. I make newsletters, magazines, all kinds of things. As a matter of fact, a magazine idea we had talked with our daughters about. They've already started with some of the initial designing of the magazine, dealing with the awakening of our people. And so that's another great idea for those who want to just be a part of something. We're trying to make create as many avenues as we can to generate income for our people to grow by, for our children to have something to look forward to. Because when the older generation gets too old to do things or to take care of themselves, we don't want our children to depart the faith because they don't. The other one isn't. I think it's just that one. You see, weird, isn't it? We don't want our children to get older and depart from the faith because the grass is greener on the other side.
Right.
We want them to have something that they can look forward to. We want them to have something that they could grow by and land and be a part of something.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. We really strong about making sure that the youth understand business things. You know, my son, he understands how to make money. My daughters, they understand it. they know that you could go on the internet, you can make money doing various things, you know, and they have done things on the internet to make money, you know. So it's you know, it's there. Trust me on it. There's a lot of things that people are doing on the internet. We spoke about this in the last meeting about the gig sites and all of that kind of stuff. Sites, freelance sites for people that are writers, voice talents. Let me tell you something. If you speak really well, okay, and you have a microphone, you can get paid. I'm telling you, people will pay a lot of money for voice talents. Just you even if you're just reading books or whatever, people pay a lot of money for those things. So I encourage you to do just that. You'll be surprised of what you can do.
Yeah, every time my husband does a commercial for a customer, they have to hire a voice
I
talent
have to. That's right.
to do that. And they sometimes they want a female voice, sometimes they want a male voice, sometimes they want a kid's voice.
Yep.
And so if you're putting yourself out there, that's another one of those things that we can market. If you have an awesome voice, go for it.
Let me tell you something. My company have done over 200 commercials for businesses out there throughout the internet, throughout the world even, okay? That's 200 voiceovers that these companies had to order. 200. You get what I'm saying?
Mm.
There are a lot of businesses out there that want commercials. And when they get those commercials, I don't do the voiceovers. You know what I mean? I sound too black. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
You know, so and I'll send my clients to voice talents, people who are really good. And I say, here, you can go here and purchase a voice talent and you know, and just send it to me when you're done purchasing it, and I'll add it to your video.
Yes.
That's pretty much how I work with my business, you know. But man, I tell you, if you got a mic and you're good, get some good equipment though. You just can't get any mic. You know, get yourself some good equipment, make sure it sounds professional, and you can make money with your voice, you know. You just, like I said, you'd be surprised the things that you could do on the internet to make money.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay. Well, I'm looking for voiceover work as I am getting to. Oh, okay. Wonderful. Sister Lisa does voiceover work. That's great.
Oh, good.
Wonderful. So again, we're going to be establishing some groups for different things online that others can do, and different business ideas that you're interested in participating in. We're going to have some groups on the site so that you can join that group and make it known what it is you want to do within the group.
Right.
So give us some time on that. And I think we've talked enough. We didn't mean to keep you all this long. We've covered every point we wanted to cover.
Yeah.
And I might take Rebecca up on some of that quiche if she has some left, or even have her make us some if she don't mind.
Sounds like a good idea.
Because it was smelling pretty good. But yeah, we can talk all day. There's so much to talk about. So we're going to save some of it for our live chat, where Thursday, we hope to make it Thursday between 6 and 7.
I can go in and just set the time now. Just set it
Oh,
up.
not the chat here. I mean on the site.
Oh, on the site.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
So
right, on the site.
we'll just basically tell you all.
We'll send a
time.
blast. I'll send a blast out before a day before, just so you can prepare for it the day before. Okay.
And I'll probably do a posting on Facebook and maybe do another video to inform you all as well of the time, the exact time, so we can be sure. But in that, if you have, like we mentioned earlier when we first started the broadcast, if you have a microphone or a camera, you can connect on our site's chat with that. If you want to go ahead and give it a try now, you don't have to wait for the broadcast. If you want to try to connect into it now,
Right.
I do believe that others are able to make chats on there as well. So even if you wanted to chat with someone else, you can do that.
I'm going to the chat now. I'm just curious.
But I'm mentioning this because we want to be able to talk with some of you all, not just through typing here.
Oh, okay. I'm in the chat now, and you
Okay.
can see Lewis over there.
Oh, okay. If you have a microphone or a camera, we will be able to see you. We want to see some of y'all, and we'll be able to hear you. If you have either or, most cameras have both a mic and visual, so we'll be able to see that. Okay, and some only have I mean, or you could just have a mic. If you have either or, you can do that.
Now, how do I add myself to this chat here?
If someone creates
this
a chat,
is the
you can-
lobby.
Yeah, that's just the lobby.
Oh, this is just the lobby.
If
So
you set up a particular chat in there, you can go into that chat. Of course,
right.
during any, if we're having a segment, we don't want to have separate chats going on in another room.
So if I want to start a room,
You
I
just
can
start a room right there, add a room, and you can just call the room business or whatever.
I'm going to try this right now just to see. Okay, how do I add the room? From where?
Right here, add rooms. Just click on
It
add
says
rooms.
all
there.
rooms.
Oh, okay. How do you add rooms? If you're not an administrator, maybe you can't do it. Okay.
Yeah, I am.
You are?
I am the administrator now.
Okay. All rooms. There's something on there that should say add room. Click on, hold on, let me go to it. Bear with us one moment, family, because a lot of people are going over to that chat, I guess, to give it a try.
And if you have a camera, you could just, I'm curious to see if this camera will pick up while I'm doing all this other stuff too.
Oh, okay. Okay, so everyone's in the lobby right now.
Everyone's in the lobby right now. We're going to see if we could.
Oh, yeah, it says all rooms, new room. If you click there.
Oh, okay.
Now,
So you're going to start a room called, just call it business for now, just so you could go in the business chat.
Okay, and I'm going to password protect the room just to see if you all can get in there with the password.
And what password?
The password protection makes it so anyone who's not invited can't get in.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to call it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is the password.
Okay, now I created the room and it's called business.
You use your mouse.
Oh, where is it?
Right there. Is it on?
That would help, wouldn't it?
Is it waiting for something else to go in there? A description of some sort?
Or maybe. Test. Yep, that's what it was waiting on.
Okay.
Okay, I've created a room called business, and now I'll tell everyone that's in the lobby to join us in the business room.
Now, where do I see it on here?
Please join
Let me refresh
the
this.
business room with password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I'm not seeing the business in my. I gotta refresh my page.
Yes.
Probably.
Refresh your page. Refresh your page to see the business room.
Refresh your page.
Okay.
Okay, now you can go inside the business room.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I go automatically get to go in there without a password.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, how do I get my camera to?
Okay, for those of you who are trying to get your camera to work, there's a little, there's a list of icons at the bottom, right next to all of the rooms. The middle icon is settings. Okay, you want to click on that settings and then advanced, and it's going to tell you, you have all the other little icons there. You can just play around with this. It shows you how to, if you don't have anything connected, it's not going to show. But if your device is showing, it will allow you to choose that from the drop-down menu, okay? And whether it's a mic or a camera, it will allow you. But if there's nothing connected, it won't show that option. Wow, this computer here does have a webcam.
Does it?
It's showing there.
Okay.
I thought we didn't have one on this. Okay.
If it'll work, like mine do too, but when I try to work it, it won't work.
Okay, the mic is working. Okay, is it showing in the drop down menu?
Yeah, but
Okay.
I never could get it to.
Okay. So you can kind of play around with this up until the time that we're going to have the actual broadcast to see if you can get your device to work. We played around with it a few days ago to make sure that our cameras and things were behaving properly. So we're not gonna hold you up too much longer on that. You can play around with this in the chat there.
Yeah.
I see many of you are in the chat, but as far as getting your device to work, mess around with the settings there and try to see if you can get it to connect. And your when it does connect, your video will pop up on the screen.
How is it that mine isn't popping up and I get the camera hooked up? You know how
Oh,
mine?
this camera here?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll play around with it afterward
Yeah.
because it should
It's
be
getting late.
this
Yeah.
one right here.
Mhm.
It's connected to your computer. Yeah,
It should be showing up. I think it's because we're doing other live thing
Yes.
that it's probably interfering.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway,
Okay.
family, it's getting late, and so we're going to go ahead and call it quits here. We were trying to help some of those that were over at the website trying to go into the chat to see how they can get it to work. So
So we're gonna definitely do this Thursday sometime in the evening. We may even come on the chat early on just to try to get it, making sure everything is working properly.
now, Brother
and
Doug
everything.
Lee, you had asked which site. That is 12 Tribes Academy or 12tribesnetwork.com. I'm going to see if it will allow me to drop a link in here for you. 12 Tribes Academy or 12tribesnetwork.com. That's where the site chat is going to be. We're going to be having all of our private talks over there instead of doing the broadcast here, okay, on YouTube. So if we have no other questions, I guess we can go ahead and be finished so that you all can get on with the rest of your day. We have some things we need to do as well. You have to post a link. Oh, you did.
Yeah.
You wouldn't allow me
Okay.
to that chat. Okay. Okay, well, family, we love you all as
Love you all.
always, and we thank you for joining us today. And we look forward to working with you as we all learn how to handle our business.
That's right. Well, on that note, we're gonna say
Shalom.
shalom.